Feel like if you're a part of the K-pop industry and genuinely no longer want to cultural appropriate and educate yourself, you might not know where to start. It might be very overwhelming and you might not know what to search or where to look or who to talk to or who to ask, especially if you're not surrounded by people that are educated in certain topics. So, I'm starting a series where I talk about things that are culturally appropriated the most in K-pop, the history behind them, to educate anyone from fans to anyone in the K-pop industry, to show the significance and why you shouldn't do it. And I feel like when I educate you on this, you're going to automatically be like, okay, I'm not going to do it regardless. We're going to talk about durags. Durags, much like every single thing black people wear, we make them look so fucking cool. You might want to wear them because they seem fashionable. You might want to put a K-pop idol in it because it seems fashionable. But this, and we'll come back to this specifically later, not only is there a long cultural history behind the durag, but it is also worn for a purpose. And when you understand the purpose of why a durag is worn, you'll be like, oh, so it's not for me and it makes no sense as to why I'm wearing it. So, hi Wikipedia, durag. Close-fitting cloth tied around the top of the head to protect the hair. Similarly, a wave cap, same purpose. Durags may be worn to accelerate the development of long curly / kinky hair. Waves. These are waves, by the way. Wave. Well, you see, it looks like a wave. Wow. Or locks in the hair to maintain natural oil, stop hair breakage, maintain hair in general. Quick change. It says similar to a bonnet. This is a bonnet for those of you who don't know. My white ex said it was a chef's hat. So here we are. Or to keep hair wave patterns and braids from shifting while sleeping. What is the braid? Durags are also worn as an identity-making fashion choice. Identity, popular in Black culture and African-American culture. So from this short paragraph, we know two things. One, durags have a specific use for maintaining a specific type of hair. And two, durags symbolize an identity, whether Black culture or / and African-American culture. Okay, history. Durags have a long and rich history that can be traced back to Africa, specifically Ethiopia. If I'm wrong, blame the internet, not me. They've been worn for centuries. Much like anything white people find, they think just because they find it now, they've discovered it. Like the white guy who was like, oh my God, I just found this thing. Let's try it out. And it was a fucking jade roller. They were worn for multiple different reasons: cultural identity, religious beliefs, social status. Also for environmental factors. Cool. You might be asking, Indigo, how did it come to America? The answer is slavery. They were brought over during the transatlantic slave trade, where it became a way for enslaved Africans to maintain cultural identity and heritage. I think about this a lot, but just to exist while being Black in America is resistance. When you partake in wearing things that are specific to the African identity / African American identity, you are automatically protesting / going against what the colonizers are trying to force then and still now Black people to do, which is shed their identity, adopt the beliefs and styles of living that white people had, which this is not exclusive to Black people. The colonizers, if it's not white, it's not right, which is why they had so many people who already had established religions completely abandon their religions that they already subscribed to and adopt Christianity. On top of the fact that it was to maintain their cultural identity, enslaved Africans were forced to wear head coverings made from things that fucking hurt. So what do Black people do? They adapt. They tried using more softer, comfortable materials, etc., etc. Also, this says that American slaves and laborers wore it to protect their hair from sweat and dirt while working in the fields. But while it was used for functional reasons, the fact that it is so tied in identity to being Black, it was always going to have a deep cultural significance. It was always going to represent the Black community and Black culture. This is why during the Harlem Renaissance, it was used for mostly functional purposes to maintain hairstyles. But by the time we got to the 1960s and the 70s during the Black Power movement, it became a symbol for Black people to reject all the atrocities and things in America that white people were doing to us. Things that Black people were no longer going to take and accept. The durag became a symbolism for I'm Black and I'm proud and I'm standing in my Blackness, and no matter how much you try and take away from me, I am proud of my identity. So let's go to hip hop now, and this does connect. So a lot of people say hip hop started in 1973. A lot of hip hop was born out of Black people being able to express how they felt and what was going on during those times. What I'm specifically talking about is conscious hip hop that emerged in the 1980s, a form of political expression and activism. Doechii said this: I know these white people really try and market that hip hop is just about drugs and gang banging and all this stuff. And that's what the K-pop industry and a lot of these K-pop idols thinks it's about. I'm not saying that did not exist during the 70s and 80s. This is what a lot of hip hop's identity was about. Conveying and telling stories of what Black people were going through. Where did the inspiration come from? Oh, we were just talking about that. Oh my God. So if we have inspiration from the 60s and 70s, and the durags were also used in the 60s and 70s. So now we're seeing one of the reasons why durags are so popular in hip hop. Oh my God, we get it. Ah! When you have moments like this of a durag being on the cover of British Vogue, now we see why it's a big deal. All right. Unfortunately, because durags are literally one of the representatives of Black culture, Black identity, and being Black, people try and make it evil because embracing the fact that you're Black, they don't want you to do that. There are so many examples that I don't have time to go over. You can look them up of Black people not being allowed to wear durags. This is the other part of cultural appropriation. It's not only you taking the thing, it's the fact that the people whose culture it actually belongs to, they interact with their culture and they wear specific things. They get unfairly treated for it. They get stopped by cops. They get marginalized. They get hate crimed. While it's a nice, cute, and fun fashion statement for you, people are literally getting fired from their jobs for it. So wearing durags now so boldly and proudly, especially in spaces, white spaces, where for the longest time we were not allowed to wear it, not allowed to celebrate our Blackness and be proud of it. When we have these durags being worn on the red carpet, stylized in beautiful ways, worn publicly and proudly, it shows Black people accepting themselves, saying, the world in every way possible has told me that everything about me and my identity is ugly and negative and evil, but I am not accepting those beliefs because I know it is not true. Standing boldly in your Blackness, one of the best runways on Drag Race, by the way. Accepting and celebrating who you are. Because one group of people decided that who you are is not okay, even though they steal from you 24/7. So that is why so many Black K-pop stans and fans in general get upset when we see K-pop idols wearing durags. Besides the fact that for their hair, it literally makes no sense, knowing durags are so tied to Black identity, Black culture, African American culture, them wearing it because they think it's yo swag hip hop, feels like they're making a mockery of what it's like to be Black. Simultaneously thinking that everything about Black people, our identity, and Black culture is just a costume for them to wear. Because they put on the durag without understanding the cultural significance. Because they listen to so much hip hop and somehow all they get from it is illegal activities, spinning the block, violence and twerking and durags, and completely somehow miss the point that hip hop is so tied to and started because of Black culture and identity and Black people feeling the need to speak out for themselves and speak up telling their stories. Editing me here also wanting to add, if you really are about rap and want to be a rapper, but all you can tell me about rap and hip hop is that it's hip hop swag. When hip hop gives storytelling and different references and intelligent puns and creative bars and world building and diversity and beautiful messages, all you get from it is twerking and yo 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 and braids. You never understood or fucked with rap or hip hop in the first place. Yup, that's the video. There's definitely so much that I missed. There's also people that have already made videos on the durag and explained it much better than I have. That's episode 1 on, I don't know what I'm gonna call this, but yeah, cool. Bye.